Hi, Isabel. Thanks for hopping on this call. I'm really excited to talk with you today about storm insights that we're seeing. I know we've recently had Hurricane Melissa have some pretty disastrous effects in the US and in Jamaica, and I'm really curious to see a little bit more about what we've seen in just the last 24 hours on our spotter dashboard with real-time insights.
Definitely. So I'm Isabel, and I lead our weather forecasting team here at Sofar. And as a result, spend a lot of time, looking at our real-time observations and forecasts that we have. And in the case of Hurricane Melissa, as it moved kind of past the Caribbean and out into the Atlantic, in the past 24 hours, we've seen really exceptionally high wave heights. What I have highlighted here in the time series is from one spotter buoy measuring on the order of 12 meters. So 70-foot max wave height expected in that period.
Wow, 70 feet is super substantial. And I'm curious too, as we're looking at this dashboard, I see some weather, not just in the Atlantic where we're seeing Hurricane Melissa, but I see some off the coast of Alaska, in the south here too. What does that mean right now where we're positioned, in terms of global weather and what you're seeing pop up?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting time of year. Late October, we're transitioning seasons in both hemispheres. So, we both have a tropical cyclone and kind of a more traditional winter storm happening in the North Pacific. And so when we zoom in on the North Pacific, once again, we're seeing exceptionally high wave heights in this larger scale storm that is, sending waves out across the Pacific Basin. And then we can look down to the southern hemisphere as well. So despite, summer coming on there, there are still these massive storms moving across the Southern Ocean, being observed by many buoys, and in real time improving the forecast of each of these really large storms.
Great. And so with the Hurricane Melissa, we were seeing a lot of effects on land. With these storms, they look massive, but they are offshore. What does that mean for real-time impact and real-world impact? Are they going to hit land, or what are we going to see?
Yeah, I think there's a variety of impacts here. For the North Pacific, we can really see if we focus up here, the waves of this storm kind of propagate out and see increased wave heights off the coastlines of Alaska, Canada, and continental US, so kind of Washington and Oregon. Once again, observations allowing us to kind of better predict those waves that are going to then propagate out and hit the coastline. In the Southern Ocean and relevant to the Northern Hemisphere as well, these large storms also basically send off large swell waves that propagate across the whole basin, and this really impacts maritime navigation. So even if you're not in the heart of the storm, the remnant swell waves moving across really make navigation difficult, and the general avoidance of these high energy regions of particular importance.
Okay, and for the winter season, what can we expect with this change of storms? Are we going to expect to see a lot more of these storms forming in Alaska and the Pacific? What's going to be the effect?
Yeah, so as we move into kind of true Northern Hemisphere winter, we'll just see a lot more energetic storms in both the North Pacific and the North Atlantic at these higher latitudes. And that means, navigation in those regions is going to be highly limited, and focusing on, good forecasts and navigating at lower latitudes, avoiding kind of these extreme conditions being really critical.
Great. Okay, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely.